Okay. Hi guys, this is well, I guess my username is Rice Krispy. My name's Liv though. Somebody asked me to make a tuning tutorial, so here I am. I'm gonna be using my UTAU because she's mine. I like her. I don't remember who made this UST. It is in the README, so I will put it in the description when I put this up on YouTube. So the first thing that I always do with USTs is I always make sure that everything is VCV. The other thing that I always do, and I learned this from CV with the VCCV English, is you select all, you go down to region property, and then you go into modulation here, and you hit a 0. And it just kind of like evens everything out, you know? So we're gonna play this first to see how it is. There's already clear everything that's already there. I also, when I'm working on a UST, I always go out here to reset. It resets all of the envelopes, and then you go over to P2, P3. It just crossfades everything together. It makes it smoother. So here's this.
新作論がどこだほらワクワクする人みんなハンドサインで I love you.
Yeah, it's okay, but I always tune things. So I'll also put this in the description. I got this plugin from Yuunarii, actually. I was watching her video on how to tune. That is kind of what this is going to be based on. So she had a link for a plugin called I think it's called Trace, and I renamed it to Pitch Editor because it sounds better. So you highlight what you want to work on, and then you go into Pitch Editor, and it zooms everything in like this. And it just makes it easier. So like you can just drag this around, and instead of having to click on your mouse 5 times, you just click once, and it makes a thing, and then you can drag it around. My rule of thumb, the first note of any phrase always like swoop in like that, because most people don't start off their note exactly the same pitch and then keep it the same pitch the entire time. So longer notes, I usually have a little bit of a dip. Sometimes I put a little bit of a dip. I just call them dips because they kind of like dip down, you know. A little bit between little notes, bigger between bigger notes. When you have like a drop down like this, I like to drag both of them back this way, go up a couple of notes, and then back down beneath it. So like it goes up and then down and then back up again. Yuunarii taught me this one. Not personally, I was watching her video. When you have like a big swoop up like this, you can do something called a thunderbolt. So like you go one underneath it and then you do another one. So it kind of makes like a lightning bolt shape, you know? We'll see how that sounds in a second. A little bit more of a dip down. Dip down. Up. Thunderbolt. More of these. When you have like a longer note like this, but it's not coming up very far, so like there's not enough room. You see how like this one goes up multiple notes, so there's room for another like thunderbolt here. I'm gonna do one, and it's gonna go up above the note just because it's not quite so tall. But when you don't have enough room to do that, I like to drag it about halfway, make another dot not in line with this, and then make another one go here. So it's kind of like a straight line, and then it dips. Oops. So it's like a straight line, and then it dips down and goes back up again, and then you get the rest of the note there. So then you have this dip down there. When you kind of the same thing with here, when you don't have a whole lot of room and there's not enough room to do like a big up and then down again, I like to come down and then do this thing that I also learned from Yuunarii called a W. It just yeah, so we're gonna dip down again there, bigger dip down, another fancy dip, big thunderbolt, dip down. Okay, so this is this is the part in the phrase where there's a little bit of a rest because I used like a vowel end here. So if there's only a teeny tiny little bit of rest there, you don't have to treat it like an actual like beginning of the phrase, because it's technically kind of not. So do another W here, why not? And then another thunderbolt, and then another W. No, not a W. We'll do a big like up. So that's the end of the phrase. So when you get to the end of the phrase there, you hit OK. It says that it's running, and then it will put them in for you. So we'll play that.
新作どんがどこだほらワクワクする人みんなハンドサインで I love you.
There, that's a lot better than it was. It's not perfect. If I was making this as an actual cover, I would keep going and I would go back in and edit a little bit more and more. But the last thing that I do is so you can hit Control T to open pitch control, so you don't have to like right click. So I just add vibrato. I drag it a little bit further, and then I make it a little bit taller, so like it goes a little bit past the note. And anything that's like quarter note long, I do a little bit of vibrato on, because a lot of like people singing, they don't have a completely flat voice. So like, but anyway, I drag it up a little bit taller than the actual note, just so that you can kind of hear it a little bit more. So I just think that adding like some shaky kind of tall vibrato in places, not too much, like you don't want to overdo it, but just adding a little bit here and there, it makes it a little bit more realistic.
新作どんがどこだほらワクワクする人みんなハンドサインで I love you.
You see how it's just like that little bit of wavering, like as she like wavers and then go up, it just makes it a little bit more realistic. There's a couple of other things. Okay, so this is my full process. You reset, P2, P3, plugins, pitch editor. I'm going to go through this a little bit fast.
Ah, 日本の魂が
I don't know if I like this. So like sometimes when you do pitches, like pitch editing like this, sometimes you're going to find that you don't actually like what just played. So like right now, I don't really like how that sounded. So we're going to do this.
Ah,
That's a little bit better. That's better. So like that completed phrase is
日本の魂が
See, that sounds too short now. I feel like this needs to be longer in comparison, because these are so long. I don't know why this is short.
魂が
Well, that's a little better, I guess. But yeah, that's how I tune. I guess I'll just leave it at that. I will put links in the description for all of the plugins that I use, and that's where I'll end this, I guess. I'm also running out of time on Bandicam, so I hope this was kind of helpful. I don't really know how to do tutorials, and I mostly just use a pitch plugin, and I watched tutorials myself, so I'm not sure if I'm really qualified to be teaching, but yeah, so there we go. Ta-da.